Hello and welcome to Data Analytics app. I'll take you through how to do data exploration with R. So just to check the dimension, to check how your data looks like. Just an overview of your data before you maybe to check if it has and if your data is clean before you even start cleaning it. So this is how you explore your data, just a simple step. The simple steps to do it. The first step is to set your work directory. So just to give your R the address of where you'll be saving, maybe you'll be saving your code where your data is found. So this is how you set your work directory. You use set wd function and copy the address, so get the address of where your data is found. So my data is found here. This is Trini. So my data is there. My data, you get the address of your data. So the address is this address, and copy and put it here. So this is the address of your data. This is how it should look like in R. This is the address of your data. Now it must be in quotes, so double quotes. So this is how you put your data. You set your work directorate and execute. That's now your work directorate. It's already executed. Now the second step is to read data. Now second step, now you must import your data. So this is reading my data, reading data sets. Please now import your data from computer to R. Now let me call my data COVID-19. Let me call my data COVID-19 is equals to read.csv. Now my data is called COVID-19. So this is my data. I download this data from World Health Organization website so that I can train with it. I can use it to train my students. So this is my data, is called COVID-19 global data. So COVID-19 global data .csv. So it must be there before you save it you must save it in Excel in CSV Excel form. So it must be in quotes also. This is how you read your data. Cannot open file, so the most of course is COVID-19, not COVID-189. Sorry, it's COVID-19. Then after you have imported your data, now if you want to view your data, you click here in environment tab to view your data, or you use view function to read your data. My data is called COVID-19. So that's how you do it. You can do it. There are two ways. You can either click here or view with use view function. Now after that, it's loading. It's loading the required. Load the required packages. So there are different packages in R, but the most used one, the most important one you must have is dplyr. That's the most used in that Wrangler. So first, if you want to install data, you use install packages and write it dplyr. So this is how you import, but it must be in quotes. But since my data is already installed, my package is already installed, let me check. It's called dplyr. This one, no, this one is already installed. There's no need of installing it again. So you must make sure your library is ticked. So if it's not ticked, you must load it by the use of library package and dplyr and execute. This is how you make sure it is ticked here. So you must use that. But since mine is already loaded, there's no need of loading it again. So that's another step. Now you can, after you've made sure that you have set your work directories, you have imported your data, and you have the required libraries. Now you can start exploring your data. Maybe we can start by checking the dimension, checking the column names, checking the summary of my data set. So I can check the dimension of my data. I can use dim function, COVID-19 data, can check. So you see it has 105,327 observations and 8 variables. See? Now I can also check call names with the use of call names function. I want to check the names of my variables now. So it is COVID-19. Can execute that. You can see it has eight variables. The first one is date reported, country code, country, it has who region, a new cases, cumulative cases up to cumulative days. Also check column names. I can also check summary of my data. I can check summary of my data. COVID-19. Check summary of my data. Expand my console. So you can see the summary of my data. It summarizes every variable. For example, the first one is date reported as length of this one, class, character, mode. You can check country, who region, it has this one. So new cases, you can see it has a minimum finger of 2,000. It has a maximum of 414. New days has negative 60. So you can see our data has a negative cases. In this case, it shows us that the data has some outliers. So my next video will tell you how to deal with the outliers, how to check if the data set has any missing fingers. But in this case, we have some negative. We have some negative fingers in new cases and new deaths. So I will just subset my data and remove all the observations with the negative. Since I'm not cleaning the data, but I just want to explore the data. Because I have another tutorial where I will show you how to clean the data. So let me remove let me subset together the data without these negative fingers. So I can remove the negative observations. So maybe let me remove the negative observation by subsetting, getting a new data. COVID-19 data. I'll also call it COVID-19 data. So COVID-19. I want to remove. Use box parenthesis. I want to remove all the cases with the negative. Which I use which function, which COVID-19 new cases is less than 0 and COVID-19 my death cases where new deaths less than 0 less than 0. Yeah, so it's executed. So I can view my new data now. Let me view my data. COVID-19. You can I viewed my data. So I can check the summary. Check the summary. You can see the summary now. You can see new cases at the minimum is 0 and new days minimum is 0. So I have removed all the negative observations in my data. So I can start answering some figures like how many countries are in my data set. So I can check the number of countries that are in my data set. So I can use length and check uniqueness of my countries. So to make sure there are no the number of countries I use unique. There my data is called COVID-19. COVID-19. I use check countries. So you can see we have 237 countries. I can check which country had the highest cases. So I can check which country has the highest cases here. I can get the summary of my data and call this one my summary new total new cases. I can call it total new cases is equals to summarize my COVID-19 data and group it by grouping it by country and summarize and summarize it by new cases. I want to summarize my new cases. But you know, here I want to get the sum of all the cases per country. So I want to get the sum of new cases. I want to get the sum of new cases. And see now, I can check my total, my summary here. So my summary is called total new cases. You can see Afghanistan has a total number of new cases of 144,000. Albania has 132,000. That's the total number of cases per country. Now, since I want to get the highest number, the countries that have the highest cases, I can use which function in my new summary. So total new cases, which I want to make maximum. So which maximum function, total new cases of new cases here, and so I can get use now. Can see USA is the country with the highest number of cases of with 34 million. That's how you check the new cases. Also, I can check total death cases. I can also check total death cases here. You can copy this. Since I want to summarize death cases. So maybe total death cases. Want to group by country. You can check the country COVID-19. The variable is called new deaths. So I want to summarize new deaths. I want to summarize new deaths here, and this one new deaths. New deaths. So like this. Now you can see I've summarized my summaries. Afghanistan has new deaths of 144. No, this one. Sorry, total deaths. Afghanistan has 6477. Albania has 24. This is summary of the total number of deaths. Now I want to get the country with the highest number of deaths. Now I want to use which function on total death cases. Total death cases. This one. So total death cases, which maximum? Total death cases. Total deaths. You can see USA also, according to my data, USA has the highest number of deaths with 605,656 cases. That's how you get the number of cases per country, this number or minimum. If you want to check the country with the minimum number of cases, you use which minimum. These are use which minimum function to get that the country with minimum cases. So my next, countries that have more than 500 cases, 500,000 cases. To analyze the number of countries more than 500 cases. So here, since I have already summarized the number of cases, I used my summary to get there. So I use this summary total new cases to get the number of countries that have more than 500,000 cases. So I'll group by country and filter new cases. Well, new cases are more than 500,000. Yeah, these are countries that have more than 500,000 cases. Also, I can guess the number of countries that has less than 50, maybe. Or how many countries that had less than 100 fatalities. There, these I can get the count of countries, total deaths, total death cases. Total death cases. The total deaths called new deaths. New deaths. Can summarize this. Where new deaths are less than 100. You can see the count of the number of countries that have less than 100 cases of death is 69, and the fourth statement, the ones with more than 100 is 168 countries. That's how you get the number of maybe cases, the number of countries that have some amount of cases, number of cases. So the next question is count of countries that had more than 1 million cases. This with the you can use to graph that histogram. You can show this with the use of histogram. So maybe I'll subset I will use my summary called total new cases. Yeah, let me subset that summary. Use set seeds 1 to 5. Can use the figure that you want. I'll call my subset y. Subset y. I'll subset it. Subset y. My y is my new subset now, where I'll subset total new cases to get the summary of to get the countries that have more than 1 million cases. So new cases. Since my summary here has two variables, only country and new cases. So I want to subset my summary here to get countries with more than 1 million new cases. So I want to get that subset. Here, my new cases here greater than 1 million. 1 million. Yes, that's my subset now. I can view y. I can view y. Run this, check how it will look like. So now you can see y here. This is the subset of the countries that have more than 1 million cases. Also, since I want to graph this, in R we use a library called ggplot2, which you must make sure that it is loaded. So make sure that my library is there. Library called ggplot. This is how you load the package in R, ggplot2. So if it's not installed, you must install this package before you use it. So I have it. This is the best package you can use to graph your data. So but these are just a simple one. I'll just group histogram. I'll not go in deep because I have a next tutorial. I will show you how to do this in deep. So let me graph this histogram. My subset here. So I'll use ggplot function where my data is y. As function where my x-axis will be. So this is y. So now I want my histogram to look like this, where on y-axis country, I want to get the count of countries on x-axis or frequency, and new cases, I want my new cases to be my x-axis. So I just want the count of countries. Maybe for example the countries that had like 5 million, the count of countries that had 5 million cases or 10 million cases. So now x will be new cases because I want my x-axis to be new cases. New cases plus geo function geom, where I want someone to draw a histogram. Now I want to bin width to be 1 million. This that says one bin will represent 1 million, another bin will represent 1 million. That's bin with 1 million. 1 million. Now, I want to add color. Color, want borders to be black, must be parentheses, so black. And I want my bins to be filled with blue, so fill my bins with blue. Fill my bins with blue. Yeah, now my histogram is ready. I can run my code now because there are so many things you can add on this line, but I'm not going to do this into details right now. So let me just run this in my next video to show you how to do this. So let me run my code. You can see my histogram. You can represent your data in graph. You can see the number of countries that add eight countries that add the number of cases. That's 2 million, 3 million. So you can view our data.